Greetings, YouTube. Last Sunday night, my wife and I went to see the movie Julie and Julia, which is the biographical tale of Julia Childs and Julie Powell. Julia Childs in the film was played by Meryl Streep, of course, an incredible actress, and she does this role incredibly well. She really seems to be channeling Julia Childs. I was quite amazed at her ability to really capture this role so completely. It was astounding and very pleasant to watch. And the character of Julie Powell is played by one Amy Adams, an actor that I had never encountered before. I guess she did the movie Enchanted, the Disney piece, and I never saw that. But I found her to be very engaging. She seemed very realistic to me. She's attractive, but not Hollywood attractive, realistically attractive. The kind of person I would imagine I would see walking down the street. And that's important to me. When characters in films are played by supermodels, people that are perfect physically in every way, shape, or form, that bothers me. That's one of the reasons I love George Clooney so much, because he's an attractive guy, but he looks realistically. Brad Pitt, sometimes he looks too good. The Dread Pirate Roberts in Princess Bride is a great example, where the male actor is actually prettier than the female actor. So I enjoy when a role is played by someone that looks to me like I could meet them and talk to them. Now I freely admit that I have encountered people in life that are that attractive, but they are, by and large, a rarity. They are not the common thing. Most people walking down the street look like ordinary, everyday people like you and I do. I do not look like a supermodel. The story tells the parallel journeys that two people took. Julia Childs, having moved to France in 1949 with her husband, who worked at the embassy, needed something to keep herself occupied, and discovered that the activities that a lot of the wives of the embassy members did, she thought were kind of empty. So she initially took up hat making, and I think it would have been wonderful if hat making had been what she had fallen in love with, and she'd become world famous for making hats. But she discovered that what she really loved was French cooking. So she studied at the Cordon Bleu Institute and eventually became a teacher. And after a long and arduous 8-year process, helped write a book that translated the French recipes into English and made them approachable to the English-speaking world, particularly in America. And the character of that Amy Adams plays, Julie Powell, is a person that's looking for something to focus on. She's the kind of person that has a hard time finishing projects. And as a person like that myself, and my wife is like that as well, I can really appreciate that. I have a hard time finishing projects. I've got some projects sitting behind me that I haven't got around to. I've been working on for like the past year, and I haven't finished them. But I should say that when projects are, I'm dependent on getting something done for someone else, I tend to achieve it. It's not like I do things for myself that I fail miserably. And she's looking for a project, and she loves to cook, and she's pretty good at it as an amateur. So she decides to take Julia Child's book, and in a 1-year time period, make every single recipe in it. So I believe it was 524 recipes in 365 days, which is quite daunting a task, if you ask me. And while doing this, she blogs about it. And this is back in the early era of blogging, when it was not all that common. 2002, she was employed as a civil servant dealing with the aftermath of the 9/11 attack and helping people try to get their insurance payouts and things like that. And so she finds herself drawing people in because they're interested in her journey. And eventually now she has thousands of people that are reading every day, commenting, sending her ingredients in the mail, things like that. Though I'm not sure if I would want to eat food from a stranger that just sent me stuff in the mail. That might be strange. But overall it was quite an enjoyable journey. I had to, I'll say right up front that Meryl Streep is a far better actor than Amy Adams. That Amy Adams was very pleasant and approachable, and I enjoyed the scenes she was in. It's just that Meryl Streep is just so darn good. It's really hard to shine as brightly when you're stuck in a movie with Meryl Streep, even though there's never a point in the film where these two actors are ever in the same scene. And I thought that was also quite clever. So I recommend this movie, particularly. I think it's a good couples film. I think it's interesting. It's not what I would call a chick flick, but there's enough going on because they also deal with politics that Julia Childs and her husband have to deal with because they served in China during the Second World War in the OSS, and the ramifications thereof during the McCarthy era, and the political strife that befell them because they were implicated in the communist membership, even though they weren't. So I found that was quite interesting. I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't know about it, so it was a pleasant surprise, which I have unfortunately spoiled for you. But it was definitely a lot of fun, and I would recommend seeing it. You don't have to see it at the big screen. We did. We saw it at the cheap theaters. 2 tickets for $7. You can't lose. But if you want to rent this or definitely pick it up, I plan on picking up a copy because I want to listen to the commentary when it comes out. So Julie and Julia is definitely a solid film and quite enjoyable.